God. And second thing is very important, that letter to God, we need to find out the character, the sketch of character sketch. That is very important about the character sketch. Suppose we are starting from here. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with flowers that always promised a good harvest. So, on the first paragraph, we have seen the environment and the outlooks of the hill, the area of the hill area. This is the first portion. We can start with this. MCQ questions will be coming from this area. Any type of MCQ question will be coming from this area. Suppose, how was the house? It can be the it can be the question. So is it on the top of the hill area or is it in the low hill area? Another question will be there. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew face intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Very important line is this. Lencho, the character of the Lencho, the first character of the Lencho, it is showcased here. It is said here that he has done nothing. He has done nothing but see the sky towards towards the northeast. That means if you are the farmers, if the situation is not in your hand, what you need to do? First and foremost thing you need to do, that you should act promptly. It is not like that every day or every time what you wish to do. So, God will provide everything to you. It is not like that. And if you are praying to the God and doing nothing, that also be discouraged by the God. Because it is said that God helps those who helps themselves. So believe in yourself rather than believe in the God. So he has done nothing. So from the first area, the first point of view, it is clear that he had done nothing else. He had done nothing. So now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God willing." So it is all about God willing. It is this kind of phrase is very much used in European country. God willing, God knows, or especially God willing. If God is willing to have it, or if God is willing that I should take this or I should take that opportunity, then I should take that opportunity. God's willing. It is a very famous phrase that has been used mostly among the Christian community in European country. God willing. The older boys were working on the fields, while the smaller ones were playing near the house, until the woman called to them all, "Come for dinner." It was during the meal that uh, during the meal just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. Now we can see the big drops of rain began to fall. And in the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These are not raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are fives." So it is a belief among the people. It is a belief among the people because during the time of the farming or especially during the time of the cultivation, raindrops is required. Whatever the raindrops that is required, but during the time of the harvesting, when we are cutting those cultivated things, during the time of the harvesting, it is not required. So God, they thought that God has provided, though we know that, yes, I mean, I will, if I will say that I will not trust on the God, on the concept of the God, then I'm telling lie. Instead of that, we know that how the cloud has been formed, and how what is the cycle of raindrops. So it is basically from the point of view of a scientist, from the point of view of a the people of from geography. So it is actually clear that it is not God's willing, but instead of that, it is a natural phenomenon, and there will be a scientific reason behind this. So these are not raindrops, though despite that, yes, the big drops of rain began to fall, and we could see that they are exclaimed, and Lencho has exclaimed this because it is not a drop. Because during the time of the cultivation, if there will be no raindrops, then it will be a huge loss for the farmers. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with his power, trapped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. This truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Now we could see from the raindrops to hailstones, because whenever we are visiting Sikkim or some of the parts of the hill area during the time, especially in the during the time of the winter, we expect there will be a hailstorm or ice falling from the sky because we have not seen. But here, those who are living over there, if there will be hailstorm, some people, some of the people, those who are not attached with the cultivation or the farming land, they will be excited. There will be hailstorm. We could see from the picture that especially in Russia, we could see that there is a if there will be a hailstorm, a special hailstorm held in Russia, especially hailstorm held in Russia. So the people are very excited. Not only the children are very excited, but there was no excitement from the farmer's point of view. Why there is no I mean, no enthusiasm? Because if there will be hailstorm, then what will happen? The cultivated crops will be destroyed. The cultivated crops will be destroyed. So it was really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. So the man means Lencho expect, yes, maybe it will be getting bad now. Yes, it is very bad. But he hopes it passes quickly. He hopes, that means that he is having hope on the God. It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hill rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, the whole valley. The field was white and as if covered with salt. Now the hail or the hailstorm is, compared with salt. If you are putting the too much salt uh, on any dish, suppose you are putting too much salt in the dishes, what will happen? The taste of the dishes will be gone. So that means that salt, it is also used to taste the dish, but too much use of the salt will destroy everything. That also related here also. The hailstorm, uh, I mean, if there will be few seconds in the hailstorm, it will not destroy anything. But if it will go on, then it will act like the salt. It will destroy everything. So here you can see that the hailstorm is actually comparing with salt. Another MCQ question. These are all the parts of the MCQ. That is why just I have explained to you. Otherwise, you could not give the answer. So next, not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. What is the consequence after the hailstorm? You can see the picture. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. And when the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his son, a plague of locusts. A plague of locust. As you can see the meaning of the locust. Here is the meaning of the locust, that insects which fly in the big swarm. So a plague of locusts, it is a group of people. A plague of locust means a group of locusts or insects. Before a locust, we can only plague will be used, not any other. Why? Because plague means that is related to the death. So this kind of locust is related like to the insects, those who can destroy uh, the crops, the cultivated crops. So a plague of locust would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. The night was sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We'll go hungry this year. So three, you can see the three or four sentences are there, especially the three sentences. It is kind of a monologue. Monologues means when someone is speaking with himself, it is a monologue. All work, all our work gone for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We'll go hungry. So this is the monologue. Uh, Lenche is talking with himself. Now next. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God. So what will be the help, the next help? If there will be no help, then we are looking for the help from the God. So help from the God. The next one, help from the God. So he is also looking for the help from God. Don't be upset. Even though this seems like a total loss, remember no one dies of hunger. And that is what they say. No one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his own hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Lencho was an ox of a man working like an animal in the field, but still he knew how to write. Look at this line. Lencho was an ox of a man working like an animal in the field, but still he knew how to write. That means at that point of time, when someone has chosen the professional job or the job of a farmer, so at that point of time, he did not know how to write. If he did know how to write, then he should not engage himself in the job of the farmer. Instead of that, he should go to the city area and looking for the job of the clerk. But he did write. So here it is clear he knew how to write. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which himself could carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. So he has written the letter to the God because there is no other way. No one could help him. And he could not help himself as well. He has not done anything. So 2 points that yes, number one is that he knows how to write. So according to the author, at that point of time, it was written almost more than 50 years ago. So at that point of time, whoever has chosen the job of the farmer, he has chosen the job, and most farmers are illiterate. But here we could find the different thing. What is the different thing? That a farmer, he knew how to write. So he has written the letter to the God. Why he has written the letter to the God? Can anyone tell me why he has written the letter to the God?
Sir, he has written to ask for his help.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Sir, he wrote the letter to the god in order to gain some help from the god in form of money so that he can restore his land and feed his family.
okay. So he has written a letter to the god. So on these circumstances, he has written a letter to the god that he assumed that there will be there will be some assistance from the god. So on that belief, he has written. What he has written? God, if you don't help me, my family, I will hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes because the headstone. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still traveled going to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. Now you can ask me the question, sir, what will be the address of the God? What has been written on over there? So written over there on the address of the God, is it that Lencho knows? No. Does Lencho know that? No. So what he has written? He has written on the envelope, letter to the God or to the God. It is unknown. The address will be unknown. So one of the employees who was a postman also helped at the post office, went to his boss, laughing heartily, showed him the letter to God. Now, while he was in the post office for the mail, so I mean, he got the assistance from a postman, and after getting the letter from the Lencho, so he was laughing. The postman was laughing that he have written. He was asking, or he was taking to himself that, isn't it funny? Isn't it ridiculous? That yes, he has written the letter to the god. Another explanation can be found. What will be the next explanation? That means that we are all looking, or we have the belief there will be God. So if we believe that there will be God, so what is the address of the God? If you believe someone is there, there should be address. So that also happens here. That he has not got any address. He wrote to God to the envelope. One the employee who has got this, and he has showed him to the letter to the God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, broke out laughing, but almost immediately turned serious. Tapping the letter on his desk, commented, I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, steering up a correspondence with God. So, from the perspective of that person, he saw that there is a faith. If there is a dedication on the God, then that person can write the letter, despite he did not know what will be the address. On the belief that God will help. Because what is our belief? That if no one could see us, or if no one could see our work, God can see our work. Sometimes we have seen, okay, you are not appreciating me. If you are not appreciating me, God will appreciate me because God saw everything. So this belief has come to life. In order not to shake the writer's faith to God, the postmaster came with an idea, answered the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than belief. So ink and paper. So at first, he thought that yes, if there will be a letter to God, so on behalf of the God, he can write it down or he can reply. But when he had read all the papers, or I mean all the full the letter, so he had seen that on nothing is required, nothing more is required than the money, 100 pesos. So what is that? He stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employee. Then he asked for money from the employee. He asked that you should help the person if we gather some money, not 100 pesos. But if we gather some money, then as from the perspective of the God, from the in the reply from the God, if we will be sending to. So what he has done, He asked for money for his employees. He himself gave part of his salary. Several friends, sorry, of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. So it is not so, because it was, I have told you that he was almost more than 50 years ago, and that point of time 100 pesos. I mean, acquiring 100 pesos is not a simple job. So she was unable to send the farmers, only a little more than her. So he has sent on behalf of God, accumulated all the monies. It may maybe 50 pesos. He has all collected and after later sent to the God, containing only a single word as a signature, God. So it should be a belief that he has not said anything. On behalf of God, he has said everything. So he has put the signature of the God over there also. The following, the following, just wait. The following, yes. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit later than usual to ask if there was a letter from for God. It was postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed and looked on from service. So he returned. He returned. He was, I mean, he has a belief that God should reply. If God will get the letter from the postman, from the postmaster, he will be getting work. And immediately he got the letter. So he was pleased. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. So Lencho, I mean, though it is a belief that God is there, so how can you? Is it possible that you can write the letter to God? And you are expecting, if you are expecting that there should be a reply from the God, so I mean, it will be a surprise, and you should be amazed that yes, I have received the letter from the God. He was not surprised, Lencho, and seeing the money. Such was his confidence. But he became angry when he counted the money. So after counted the money, he became angry. God could not have made a mistake. How God can make a mistake? He was looking for 100 pesos, but in the envelope it was not there. Nor could he have denied Lencho what he requested. So he has a belief that yes, whatever aspiration, whatever the things he's looking for, and whatever the amount of money he asked for, that should be returned. So what he has done? Immediately Lynch went up to the window to ask for a paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow, caused by the effort he had made. He had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the evidence, the envelope with a blow of his fist. He was licking the stamp, was blowing on the fist with his fist. The moment of the letter fall into the mailbox. The postmaster went to open it. The postmaster expected that it is not possible God would give you something. Instead of that, they have given. So he was expecting that he should write the letter, and not only he's writing the letter, he should ask that who has given me the letter, and he must be grateful those what he has found. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it much, but don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employee are a bunch of crooks. Now, you tell me the explanation from the point of view of Lynch's character with the reference of last this few lines. Can anyone tell me? One by one, we can start.
Sir,
Put your
according
hand
to this
first.
paragraph,
Raise your hands first. Yes, Om.
Yes, sir. According to this paragraph, here when the post office men employees tried to help Lencho, here it turned out to be very ironical that Lencho thought that God helped him, but instead of that, it were the post office employees who helped Lencho. But he thought that since 30 pesos were not present in the mail, so he thought that the post office employees stole or took off the money from that mail. So because he had an unshakable faith in God, so he thought that God would have only given the money, and since he demanded for 100 pesos, the 30 pesos were taken out by the employees, and this made him believe that the post office
Okay,
employees
okay.
were the ones who took
Oh,
off the
thank you.
30 pesos.
Very good. Next. Yes, Sampurna.
Sir, I think that
Turn on your
Lencho had
video,
a
Sampurna.
blind. Yes, sir. Sir, I think that Lencho had a blind faith in God. He thought that God would give him all the money. But I think that if any person is good as a human being, then that will be a blessing for him as a God. So when the post office employee means collected all the money to just give him, because we all know that in reality God will not give him the money. So when he took that opportunity and he gave the money, that time he was thinking that that postmaster, he was a thief. So this is a very bad, I think this is a very bad nature of Lencho, because he should be